There are certain professions that just put you more, you're imbricated in social issues in a deep and inescapable way.
We all have a social responsibility, starting with the fact that we're all citizens, and the very idea of having a civic role means that you have a social responsibility.
I do believe that architects, as professionals, as practitioners, probably consciously cannot not be social.
I think architects have probably a more specific responsibility because we work in the environment, and shelter is part of the very basic needs of man. It's like food, it's like health. These are really primary elements which drives the quality of life for man. Architecture is all about social responsibility. I often say architecture is political. It's another way of saying it's social.
Architecture, in its purest, deepest, oldest sense, is simply one of the ways that humans are in the world and represent themselves in the world. So it's social in its DNA.
Everything you do has a relation between cost, time, government, people. It's all about social, and it is an art as well, but deep down it's social.
Whether it's controllably social, whether it can be intentionally social, whether the architect can make it social, I'm not nearly as certain.
For me, I think it's social issues, as I said, is not enough. But social issues is something that you have to be aware of. And you always, throughout the process, you should be aware of. And in terms of architecture, it is important to be aware of who are we really designing for. That's, I would say, if I give you a number, that's only 30%. But the other 70% is really the design, the making of architecture, that we shouldn't, we shouldn't forget. Of course, we have. That's why we're here.
I strongly believe that architecture can humanize. If it's well designed, it humanizes. If it's bad, it brutalizes. That's humanitarian.
Architecture, after all, have to be architecture and have to speak for itself, not only because it's social related.
It has to be a synthesis of a moment in the history of a lot of vectors. The monetary economy, the materials available, as I said, technology, cultural vectors. It's got to bring a material synthesis to infinitely many, almost infinitely many vectors, and that's what makes design so difficult. And it takes so much. It takes consultants. It takes a team. It takes collaboration because of the synthetic.
If you're going to change the environment, you've got to have planners, you have sociologists, philosophers, engineers. I mean, there's vast. It's teamwork. And that's what makes the richness of the real of architecture. I think the day when you could have one person working in an attic and doing a building is basically over, and I'm delighted it's over.